Hey guys, my name is Dan and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Arsenal versus Bayern Munich, the quarter-final stage of the Champions League this season. And yeah, we'll get straight into it, guys. I think the home leg is where we really lost this game. I'll go through the games first, and then I'll give my opinions on it because there's always opinions when it comes to Arsenal. Arsenal lose a big game, and everyone and their mothers have an opinion on it. So I wanted to give mine because everyone's got an opinion. Everyone likes giving their opinion on football, and I didn't want to do it on Twitter. I didn't want to write it out, tweet it out, blog it out. I wanted to get a video because I think I express myself better, you know, vocally rather than on my end. So getting into the games, obviously home leg, first stage. Obviously, you kind of want the home leg to be the second stage because it kind of gives you a little bit of advantage going to the second leg. But we did have an advantage. We had a lot of advantages in our home first leg because Bayern couldn't have any of their fans there. It was at home, and we have a very good record at home, especially in the Champions League. We couldn't get the win. We got the 1-0 and then it was 1-1 and then we were losing 2-1 for a bit and then we got a 2-2 draw, which, on the face of it, being one down, a 2-2 draw isn't too bad. But we really should have won that game. I think that's where we lost the tie at home. And yeah, it was a difficult pill to swallow. It was 2-2 going into the Allianz Arena in Munich. It was always going to be a tough ask to get a win there. People talk about worst Bayern Munich in decades or whatever. Domestically, sure. But in the Champions League, their managers won it. They've got loads of players that have won it. So, whereas we don't. We don't, Jesus and Zinchenko weren't at City when they won the Champions League, so we don't have any Champions League winners in the squad, apart from, I guess, Jorginho, I guess. But regardless, Bayern Munich have a massive Champions League and European pedigree, and we don't at the moment. So, going into the second leg, I think we had a really, really good first half. We should have put a couple of chances away. We should have been winning, really, at half time. We weren't very cagey, we defended very well in that game. The whole game except for, the one goal we conceded. But we defended alright. We were in the game. It was a very even game for a long time. And my main worry really going into it was I don't want to get spanked. I don't want it to be another 5-1. I don't want to be embarrassed. And ultimately we weren't. We were in the game for pretty much the whole game. Obviously we conceded relatively late on. And we didn't really look like scoring, especially that second half. That second half was a poor performance from the whole team and Arteta as well. Taking Erdegaard off was, I think, a massive mistake. Arteta seems to have improved a lot in his substitution management, but he got that one wrong in my opinion. And bringing Eddie Nketiah on was just embarrassing in my opinion. He's one of the players that I think we should let go in the summer, but that'll be another video. But so we ended up going out 3-2 on aggregate, which is not an embarrassing result considering the second leg was at the Allianz Arena. It was against Bayern Munich. Sure, Bayern Munich are not that great at the moment, and we're doing very well domestically, but yeah, like I said, the European pedigree counts for something. This is just going to go into my opinion on where Arsenal are and the opinion that everyone else has. I feel like 3-2 against Bayern Munich at the quarter-final stage isn't a terrible result. It's not embarrassing. I think that when you consider it's Arteta's first Champions League run as a manager, when you consider that most of the squad, you've got to think of 85% of the squad has never been in the Champions League before. To get to the quarter-final stage, first time in the Champions League in 7 years, first time at the quarter-final stage in 14 years. I mean, Wenger struggled to get to the quarter-finals by the end of his tenure, so that's not to be sniffed at, And there's a lot of other fans at the moment that are saying, well, you should have won it, it's a failure. But what I will say to that is, no one at the start of the season had Arsenal anywhere near the Champions League final. You know, that's just a fact. So I love the way that some people, the same people that think, oh, Arsenal failed, you know, they haven't won it, or they failed. Well, you didn't have us winning it in the first place. So how can you call us a failure when you didn't expect us to win it anyway? Um, Even if we had won it, you know, it's Real Madrid next in the semi-finals. You know, this Champions League one is really difficult for us. It would have been difficult for us because then we would have had to face PSG or Dortmund in the final. I think PSG wins that semi final. I think Madrid absolutely ruined Bayern Munich in my opinion because you talk about European pedigree. There's no one that has it more than Madrid. So I think Madrid will find it a lot easier to beat Bayern than they did beating Man City. That's for sure. Um, so yeah, I mean, people saying it's a failure. Look, what I'll say is, ever since we finished fifth, so that's what 3 years ago. In 3 years, you've seen a steady progression for Arsenal. We finished fifth, then we went on a title run last season, and we rightfully finished second. Um, we challenged City. I mean, not as far as I would have liked, but we challenged City for nearly all of the season, which is difficult for anyone now to do. It's even difficult for Liverpool. Liverpool have got a really good squad, and even they struggle, you know, with competing with City. So to do that twice, yeah, you know, 2 years in a row is great in my opinion. So yeah, you know, we get second place. We get the Champions League for the first time in God knows how long. That's progression. I didn't expect us to get to the quarterfinals. I thought, you know, just get out of the group and then whatever happens, happens. Um, and yeah, for me, this season was ultimately all about experience. You know, the whole team has got Champions League experience now, which they didn't have, you know, this time last year. So it's building on it. And people mocking me or Arsenal fans saying, well, you haven't won it, you haven't won anything, you know, you've got the same amount of trophies as United and Spurs, blah, blah, blah. Well, yes, but if you're continually challenging for the title and you're continually in the Champions League, and if you got to the quarterfinals in your first try under Arteta, that's nothing to be embarrassed about. That's nothing to be angry about. That's nothing to be negative about. Because you think, well, okay, cool. We're blatantly going to get Champions League next season as well. We'll just go again. And my thing is the more you challenge City, the more you challenge them, the more you're up there, the higher the probability that at some point you are going to win a Premier League. Um, Whoever wins the Premier League in the next couple of years, that's not Man City, is going to be an impressive team because Man City is just a juggernaut now. You know, their bench, they've got like, 30 players that are first team Premier League quality. Um, you know, so whoever beats them to a title in the next few years is gonna be a really, really good team. At the moment, you got to think with Klopp leaving Liverpool, you know, with Pep probably, you know, I think on his last leg of being Man City coach, especially Liverpool. I think once Klopp leaves, that's going to be a drop off. Their squad's aging as well. I don't think they've got that much money to spend on rejuvenating their entire squad. Salah and Van Dijk, I think, are on their last legs. Van Dijk's had a really average season, in my opinion. So um, it's really just Arsenal. If we can go out and have a really good, strong summer, get a really top striker in who can do what Arteta wants him to do, get cover for Saka. You know, with Timber coming back, I think Timber is going to be our defensive reinforcement again. Um, I think, you know, he could play left back and right back, so I think we'll be utilising him as a left back in my opinion. I don't think Arteta is going to go out and buy a brand new left back, at least not a first team quality left back. Maybe a young guy that can come in and challenge. But I think Kivior is going to do great. I think he got showed up against Bayern in the first round, but the kid's 20 odd, whatever. You know, I think he's going to improve. He's going to take experience from that and improve. So I think he might be our long term left back option with maybe Timber. You know, I think Timber's going to be um, used across the whole back line, in my opinion. I think he's going to be an important part of our back line. in the future. So once he's back from injury, of course, which is soon probably. But yeah, we're still challenging Man City. We've still got 6 games left to go. We're only a couple of points behind Man City. They're more than capable of getting a draw. Having said that, they're probably going to go on and win the next 6 games, but they are capable this season of dropping points. We've seen it, and we're not out of it yet. Obviously, we've got a massive game against Wolves coming up. If we don't win that, then I think that it's really, really done. But if we do win it away at Wolves, we should have won against Villa at home as well. We've had a trash week. We've had a bit of a wobble. Villa got our number, and then obviously taking that negativity into the second leg against Bayern didn't help. But yeah, I think beating Wolves and then going on, we've got still got Spurs away. We still got Old Trafford, Man United at Old Trafford. So they're two massive games. Um, but at the end of the day, people criticizing me for finishing second. You're happy about finishing. No one's celebrating. I'm not celebrating finishing second. I'm not celebrating. Oh yes, great, this is awesome. But I'm not. It's not a bad thing either, in my opinion. 3 years ago we were fifth. 5 years ago, when Arteta, 5 years ago today, we were languishing at eighth or whatever. We're getting banned for finishing eighth. I think for the second time in a row. So I've been in a bad place as an Arsenal fan. I've been genuinely in the mud in terms of supporting a club that was just in complete disarray. So, and that's still fresh. That's still 4 years in my memory. That was only, recent memory. So I'm not going to turn my nose up at being second twice in a row. I'm not going to turn my nose up at being in the quarterfinals of the Champions League for the first time in 14 years. I mean, that's not a negative for me. I'm not celebrating it, but at the same time, it's a foundation, it's a base of then improving. Arteta has shown over the last 3 years, especially, that we are on an upwards trajectory. Um, you know, last season was getting to the Champions League, and I think we overachieved last season in challenging for the title, but we deserved to get Champions League last season. The season before that, it was getting, trying to get top four and things like that. So we've shown a steady progression in quite a short amount of time. Arteta's got like 90% of his transfers brilliantly. I think Ramsdale was a great signing when it happened. It kind of hasn't worked out for him. I think the only signing at the moment that is a bit off is Fabio Vieira. I think he's been fit. He's not been playing. I think his injury is probably not 100% done yet, and I think we're trying to ease him back in. But could Vieira have made a difference against Bayern? I don't know. It's debatable. It could have happened. It may not have happened. But if you think if Erdegaard can break Bayern down, I don't know if Vieira could have. But at the end of the day, we need a massive squad now. I think our bench has never been stronger, but it's still weak. I think we need to move some players on. I think we need to improve in some areas. But it's a basis. You gotta think now as an Arsenal fan. Okay, cool. Assuming we finish second, we could still finish third. Liverpool could go on a bit of a run, and we could have a still wobble. But you'd think third place is probably the lowest we're going to drop now. Touch wood. You think, okay, two top three finishes in 2 years. Back to back years, quarterfinals of the Champions League. You think, well, if we can get 2 to 3 really, really astute, great signings in summer, why can't we improve and go on the next step? City are on a bit of a weird thing at the moment. They're not the City of last season. Even if they win the league this year, they're not going to win the Champions League. They could quite easily get out of the FA Cup in the weekend against Chelsea, depending on how Pep rotates that squad. But even if they win the double, it's not as good as it was last season or the season before that. I think City are on a bit of a slump now, in my opinion, my honest opinion. And Liverpool as well. Liverpool are going to have a natural drop off after Klopp. Klopp gives that club such a lift, and I think losing him is going to be a natural drop off. And then you think Salah is aging, Van Dijk is aging. You had to think that they're probably their two best players, except for maybe Alisson in goal, who's been injured this season, and Liverpool don't look the same without Alisson in goal. So Liverpool are going to be a bit of a mystery next season, in my opinion. But why can't we go on and challenge again? And like I said, the more we challenge City, the more we're in the Champions League again, the more experience we get. Why can't we go and improve and go a step up and win the league next season? And we can still win it this season, for God's sake. We're not completely out of it yet. There's still 6 games left to go. City and Liverpool are more than capable of dropping points, as I've said. So, no one's celebrating. No one's happy to have, oh yes, we're knocked out. But at the same time, that's the benefit of being back in the Champions League for the first time in 7 years. You can turn around and say, well, it's the first time in 7 years. Like, anything beyond the group stage in this season is a bonus. It's a good thing, in my opinion. Yes, we struggled against Porto, but even Porto have, European pedigree, so they're not a team to be sniffed at, and they have their crappy tactics which they used almost perfectly. So you have to give them credit for that. I don't like the tactics they used, but they used it well, and it was effective almost perfectly. So you have to give them credit. So Porto is not a team to be sniffed at. I think they could beat Liverpool this season. They lost against Atalanta, so. Yeah, I'm not going to be... No one's celebrating, no one's happy, but at the same time, I'm not going to be depressed and angry. Because I've been there before. Like I said, I've been, in a really bad place with Arsenal over the recent years. And, yeah, challenging Man City from 95% of the league for the year, over a 9-month period, and get to the quarterfinals. And being very, very close to a semi-finals as well. That's nothing to be sniffed at, in my opinion, especially from a United fan or a Spurs fan or even a Chelsea fan right now. They've won Champions League, well, apart from Spurs haven't won shit, but City and Chelsea have won the Champions League. Yeah, sure, cool, you have won it, well done, congratulations, but we look more likely to win it out of everyone else except for Man City this season, and probably next season as well. So, like I said, the more time we're in it, the more chance we have of winning it. So, it's my 2 cents. I'm in a good place with Arsenal. People calling Arteta out that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't like the Arteta out movement. I think it's just clickbait. It's just, hey, I've got a YouTube channel and I wanna grow it, so I'm just gonna go Arteta out, be all controversial. That's bullshit, in my opinion. I think Arteta has clearly shown that he's a top level coach. He just doesn't have the experience. He's still in his first job. I'm not making excuses for him. He does make mistakes, but for me, the league positions over the last 3 years speak for themselves. The players that we've signed over the years have speak for themselves. If you can't look if you can't see the progression that Arsenal have made over the last 3-4 years, then football's probably not for you, because it can't be any clearer. Every single season has been better than the season before, and that's the first thing you can ask for as a football fan, is you want your team to be improving. You see the progress. People say process is a term that's used derogatively for Arsenal. Every other coach, Ten Hag, and even Pep and Klopp, they use the word process, and it's cool, okay, cool. Arteta uses the word process, and it's trust the process. Well, yes, that is the process. We're on a really good process right now. I just don't understand why it's used as an insult when it's clearly not. It's weird, but having said that, I think next season's the cut-off point. I think for Arteta, he needs to win something. We got knocked out of the FA Cup too easily this season, and the Carabao Cup as well. People. I think even if we win the FA Cup next season, I think it's not going to be enough. He needs to win a trophy. He needs to win the league or the Champions League next season for me to stay in his job. Because if he doesn't, questions need to be asked. That it's been. This time next year it'll be what, 3 years? It'll be 2 years in the Champions League. It'll be 3 years challenging, hopefully, for the title. And you think, well, if we can't win that, maybe he doesn't have enough to get us over the line. But he would have given us a great foundation. He's rebuilt the club from the inside out. It's not just the team. it's not just getting rid of players and buying players. The whole club has just been lifted, and it's higher than it's probably ever been since the Invincibles, since the Champions League final way back when. So, yeah, at the very least, it's given us a basis to move on. And if we can get, I don't know, a top level coach, maybe next summer, maybe. But no, I think Arteta needs another run in the Champions League. I think he needs another year and another summer to get his. He needs to get this summer transfer window perfect. He needs to sign some really great players. He needs to let some players go. We're holding on to some players that are not good enough, in my opinion, and I'll get into that in another video. But yeah, so I'm not immune to it. It's not like Arteta's God and you can't say anything bad about him. He does make mistakes, and he's approaching the time when you can start to say, well, is he enough to get us over the edge? I think the end of next season is the cut-off point for me. If we don't win anything, if we don't win the league, especially, because I think the league is more winnable now than it has been for the last 2 or 3 years. If we don't win the league next season, and if we don't, obviously, maybe if we get to the Champions League final next season, then maybe he keeps his job. But yeah, I think he's not there yet. That's what I'm trying to say. He's like, we're approaching it, but we're not at the point, I think, where we need to start thinking about Arteta out. I think he just needs to win. He needs to win something now. We're playing the best football in the league. We've undoubtedly incredibly improved over the last few years. Now we just got to show something for it. And winning a trophy, I mean, an FA Cup would be awesome. You know, we are the record holders of that, but you know, I'm talking about the league. The league's the holy grail for us, and the Champions League's the holy grail as well. So, yeah, that's just my 2 cents. You know, I'm not gonna feel bad. I felt crap, you know, the day of the Champions League game, because obviously I had to go to work straight after the game, which sucked. But you know, I'm not massively depressed about it, to be honest with you. For me now, it's the league now. Everyone's going to be focused on the league. You know, every other, you know, Liverpool and City are all out of their competition now. City do have the FA Cup though, so hopefully they can be distracted by that. Yeah, it's all about the league now. Winning against Wolves would be a good start to rebuilding kind of like the good vibes at Arsenal, and move on from there. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say, really, guys. You know, it was a really good run. It was a really good first season back in the Champions League. Despite what fans of clubs that are not even in the Champions League right now are saying, take heart. You know, quarterfinals is not a mean feat. It's not something that's easily done. You know, Man United got grouped in the Champions League against Bayern, no less, and we challenged Bayern right up to the end. So it shows you the levels of where those two clubs are at now. So you know, take heart from that, and you know, like I said, get strong summer in, and we go again in next year for the Champions League. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. Let me know if I'm wrong. We'll have a conversation about it. And yeah, I just want to say thanks for watching, guys. I will be back at some point to do a video on the Wolves game. I'm not quite sure when that's going to be. My weekend's pretty jam-packed, so I'll have to figure that out. So yeah, anyway, guys, I'll do a video as soon as I can, and we'll have another conversation. So take these, guys. If your club's still in the Champions League, congratulations. I think Madrid are going to win it, in my opinion. I think it'll be a Madrid PSG final, and I think Madrid will win, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, take it easy, guys. Thanks for watching again, and subscribe if you haven't already. That would be great. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Adios.